What is organic chemistry as opposed to normal chemistry?
So chemistry in general is split up, I guess, into like 3 major sections.
Okay.
I could be wrong on this, but like my understanding is like inorganic chem, organic chem, and then physical chem.
Okay.
So physical chem is basically physics. It's like the intermediary between like chemistry.
Right, because chemistry is physics is a lot of chemistry.
Yeah.
In a way.
Well, so it's like the moment you start doing stuff that requires, I say physics. So it's like you can have some chemical reactions require lasers. So it's like, it would be all of like, the people who are doing laser stuff are usually the phys chemists.
Okay.
And they do a lot of, actually I don't even know too much about phys chem. Just, I know that when you're inorganic chem, which is what I did.
Yeah.
You always just say that phys chem's boring and you feel bad for everyone who's in it, but I don't actually really know. Just because you take a few.
I don't understand it.
Well, you take a few phys chem classes. It's all thermodynamics.
Okay.
You're doing a lot of like
right,
heat,
right.
like just calculations.
So what's the difference between chemistry and organic chemistry then?
So the organic and inorganic is basically the difference between carbon and non-carbon.
Oh, okay.
And there is like a crossover,
Right.
But like organic just in chemistry is just carbon based.
Right.
So any chemistry involving like the breaking or modification or building of carbon bonds or carbon bonding,
literally
anything
carbon
related to carbon is organic.
And is that a lot of things? Most things?
It's a lot, but the thing is that like any chemistry you do with like nitrogen or metals, so like iron, copper. So if you take acid and pour it on copper, that's inorganic chem because there's no carbon involved. So like people generally, they'll branch off into the two. Usually like people go like, I do inorganic chemistry primarily or organic, but there is a crossover where people do like a lot of catalysts are inorganic. So people like, that's the lab that I was in when I was doing my grad studies. It was kind of even weirder too, because it was like, it's inorganic things in organic molecules. So it's like a very big crossover, and then you catalyze organic reactions. But a lot of catalysts like copper metal, just copper metal you can use to catalyze
Yeah, I remember
organic
catalysts.
reactions.
Right.
So it's like there is a bit of crossover between the two.
Oh god, you give me like PTSD from chemistry, A level.
But a lot of people who spec out in organic chem will then know you get very much into organic chem.
Yeah.
And then you know enough about inorganic if
But
your
not
thing
enough.
requires it, but it's a very different chemistry.
Right.
And then the people who know all about the inorganic stuff will then be much fuzzier about the carbon-based stuff.
So how did you get into like chemistry at school? Like presumably after the blowtorch?
I mean, at this point, it just feels like natural, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're obviously very
Natural
knowledgeable now, but like,
progression,
how did it go from being a crazy kid in the backyard to getting a formal education?
Yeah, because you said you wanted to go
getting
into
a lab?
veterinary, right?
Yeah,
So like, how did it go from veterinary to just doing the chem stuff?
So I'll pick up where we left off.
Sure.
After I was making flash powder, I quit. I never made it. I don't know why. I think it coincided at some point with like a fear of firecrackers.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just want to blow my fingers off. So I just, and since then I don't like explosives. Like I just kind of stopped.
Yeah.
But I really want to make thermite.
Why?
Okay.
Which, do you know what thermite is?
It's the shit that burns like ridiculously hot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like aluminum and iron oxide.
Yeah.
So I
I
really
know
got
it's
into
dangerous.
So I really got into like making the rust
Okay.
to make it, and then trying to make aluminum powder.
Okay.
I think it kind of worked once. I've actually never set off thermite.
Huh.
I just kind of had no success in that realm.
Right.
Okay.
But I guess I've always like just had like a lot of I always say the projects I really liked just happened to be chemistry.
Right.
Right. So when you went to school and they were trying to teach you all this boring shit, were you like, oh, that's easy. I did that like when I was 2.
No, so like around that time, I was doing chemistry in high school and I got like 65. I thought I was going to fail the class. And I remember being really scared because I'm like, I won't get into the science program
Right.
it's CEGEP. It's basically like it's in just before university.
Right.
Yeah, we have something called sixth form.
Sixth form,
Okay,
yeah. Sixth
so it's
form
probably
college.
kind
Yeah.
of
2 years, right?
Yeah, it's 2
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
So I just was like, I didn't really care about the theory.
Yeah.
So I didn't really study. I just didn't really understand or care.
Right.
Well, you're not blowing anything up, right? You're not you're not dissolving anything. Why would you care?
I'm not in any immediate danger, so why should I care?
I don't know. I don't remember having any like strong thoughts about it.
Yeah.
I just kind of always.
Empty.
But my dad has a background in science, so growing up I was always like, I'm a science guy, so I just should do well in this. Like I didn't think too much.
Yeah.
And then going into CEGEP, I didn't do well in chemistry. It was actually my worst science subject.
Right.
I kind of hated it. I just didn't care.
Like too much theory, I guess.
But I got to do organic chem.
Right.
And I don't know why. It's like, it's why I described it as like a game. It's very much like once you know the rules, I liked in my head, like picturing how the molecules would move around and like how to build things. That's what I liked about organic.
Yeah.
And like
Right.
solving the problem to me was satisfying.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So I just liked the idea of organic chemistry. And I liked the idea that you could like have things and you could build other things out of it with your knowledge.
Right.
I just thought it was cool. So I thought learning about different reactions was just interesting.
Yeah.
Right.
But up until then, I still hadn't done like any real chemistry until university.
What constitutes as real?
I would say I did nothing.
Okay,
Straight
all right.
nothing. I really wanted to do like filmmaking stuff. Like it had nothing to do with.
Well, now you
chemistry.
combine the two.
Well, that's
exactly.
actually so it is related. So I got obsessed. I think it was in like 2012. I got obsessed with spicy food, and I really wanted to extract pure capsaicin from peppers because I was just like, I want to taste
That
it.
explains the interaction we had in LA.
Yeah, we should say how we met you. Yeah, so we had a little get together at our Airbnb, and then Nigel turns up and whips out a vial of pure capsaicin. He's like, "Hey, you want to try some?" And so he pulls out a needle and gets it out. And
Unsharp needle.
what?
Unsharp needle.
What does that mean?
Safety.
I have this great footage of Nigel preparing it all. Like we're putting on the gloves.
I
It
could
just
hear the
looks like a
boom.
scene out of Breaking
Yeah,
Bad. It's
boom,
crazy.
boom.
Yeah.
I remember just like having a drink, chilling outside, just like having a nice little chat. I come in and fucking Nigel's got a needle out and putting shit on a vial and
The
some
way
shit.
it sounds like some horror story.
was.
It's
It
describing-
It looked like a horror.
I was like, yo, what kind of fucking drugs are we shooting up at this party? What? I know we're in LA, but come on, guys, come on. Turns out it was
Yeah,
just like
no.
pure capsaicin, which I don't know if I don't know if it would be less insane if you guys were just doing drugs, because at least it would make sense.
But
you
he was wearing gloves as well, so it just was like even more concerning.
When I first this is like kind of relevant. Whatever. I'll just go back to say what I said.
Go.
I was just obsessed with spicy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I went through a phase. I'm like, if it's not spicy, I don't want to eat it.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And I wanted to taste pure capsaicin. I don't know why. So I started just like trying to extract it, but I was too poor to afford gloves. So I would do everything without gloves.
Oh my God.
And I'd be like pouring solvents. And so like my hands
You
just
could get these solvents, but you couldn't get a fucking pair of
it's like
gloves.
acetone from like the hardware store. The
I think gloves are cheaper than acetone.
They were like $20 a box or something at the time, like $15 a box. I think I had negative money in my bank account.
Okay.
The solvents were like
Okay.
my dad's garage solvents.
Okay.
So I would get it all over my hands all the time, and I would touch my face. So I got like that's why I told you I got super used to just like capsaicin
Oh my god.
burning. But again, that was another like science project that I didn't really care that it was like it's kind of heavily chemistry.
Yeah. You
But
didn't
I
even
just
give a shit. You just wanted pure capsaicin.
cap. So I'm like reading all these forums on how to like do extractions and like chromatography and like all this stuff. I'm like, I just want pure capsaicin.
Right.
At the
Christ.
time I didn't succeed. I think it was about 50% what I had.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Did it taste?
It was spicy, that
was-
stuff you gave me.
Well,
Yeah, that was pure. That was pure.
pure
that's
capsaicin.
pure-
Of course, it's
pretty
spicy.
spicy.
The old stuff that I made was like
Well, I only had like a droplet.
Yeah.
And it was pretty spicy.
Well, of
it
course
wasn't
it would
like, it wasn't as crazy as I thought it was going to be.
because I gave you guys like I didn't know how you guys handle it, and it's like if I gave you could get an amount that looks like nothing, but it like the next 30 minutes, depending on how you handle spice, like
Yeah.
you might think it's gonna ruin your entire night.
I handled spice pretty well, and I'd say it was definitely spicy, but it wasn't like
I
For the amount
tasted
you
the
have,
amount that
though,
I
right?
gave people,
Yeah.
and I was like, if you're good with spice, you'd be fine.
Yeah,
Well,
I'd say that.
the real test is if Joey ever does it, which
he's not gonna do it.
well, he'll end up in the hospital probably.
I mean, I've gotten better at spice.
You have gotten better. You have gotten better. You're
I used to
right.
be like zero tolerance when it
Yeah.
comes to spice, but like, this year I had a ghost pepper for the first time.
I would say that's worse. It all is the dose, right?
Yeah, Right.
So
yeah.
it's just like I find actual fresh peppers, like
Yeah.
really spicy peppers, are probably
Yeah.
worse than what you'd have with capsaicin. Because
Right.
even though it's really concentrated,
Yeah.
it doesn't really spread around your mouth.
Right.
Pepper
Whereas
goes
it's
everywhere.
so like honestly, like those spicy wing challenges are like worse. All your lips are burning.
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah.
it's so, and then you're hiccuping, and like the next day your stomach just hurts.
Yeah.
Whereas like you don't get that
I've
if
been
you
there.
have like capsaicin. There's so little, it doesn't even irritate your stomach.
Although you say that, but I remember specifically when you were giving a little bit of the pure capsaicin
I
to
was-
Connor, you were just like, "Don't swallow it."
Because I
You were
don't
freaking
know
me
how-
out. You were freaking me out. Because you're like, don't swallow. Don't swallow.
I've given it to some people, and it's like they panic.
yeah.
So I was trying to be like, I'm not going to give you a lot. Like, if you don't like it, don't panic. Just spit it
How
out.
often are you whipping this out and giving it to people?
When back in the day when I was like doing it at home, like when I extracted it myself, it was like anyone who would.
Actually,
You're a
I
menace.
haven't asked the,
And I was
You're a
less
fucking
ethical.
menace.
I was
Yeah,
less
you're a
ethical.
menace.
I haven't asked the important question. Why did you have a vial of capsaicin just
Yeah, that day.
just in your bag? And what else do you have in your bag that you carry around?
There's a reason, because like for one of the videos, I was making a spicy compound,
Oh, okay.
and so I brought it a very small amount the last time I was in LA.
Right.
Yeah.
But it just kind of like I didn't bring enough. I didn't like set it up properly, so it was kind of a disappointment.
Yeah.
So when I came back, I was like, I'm gonna bring spicy stuff again, but it had been like 6 months or 7 months, and I
Right.
didn't have the other stuff anymore, the stuff that I made.
Right.
So then I was just like, I'm just gonna bring.
How does
pure-
like TSA react to stuff like that? When
I guess they
if
didn't see it.
Yeah,
I guess what they don't know can't hurt them, right?
yeah, I guess so.
It's not illegal or anything. Like it's
Yeah,
just,
it's just
very-
spice.
Yeah.
It just, I remember
It just
though,
looks
when you
concerning.
pulled it out of the
To be
bag,
fair,
it
I
looked
put
very
it together as
concerning.
a kit to make it look sketchy.
Yeah.
Did you want it to look sketchy?
I thought it was funny to be
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it also was the only way I could package it.
Yeah.
But it's like
Right.
even the little plastic bag I had, like I purposely, I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Definitely looked like a mad scientist just like whipping this thing out.
Yeah.